Picture yourself behind the trigger, watching an entire row of soldiers crumple in a single devastating burst. That distinctive sound immediately paints a target on your back, making you the primary objective for every enemy sniper, artillery spotter, and tank commander scanning the battlefield. And sometimes, the orders you receive from your own commanders prove more haunting than anything the enemy could inflict. Commands that will follow you into every nightmare for whatever remains of your life. This was the brutal reality for German machine gun crews in World War II, operating what became the most feared automatic weapon in modern combat history. Among the arsenal of World War II, nothing struck terror into Allied hearts quite like the sound of an Mg42 opening fire, especially when you're the one ordered to charge its position. American soldiers routinely mocked German weapons, hanging derisive nicknames on everything from the idiot bomb to the door knocker for anti-tank guns that bounced harmlessly off Sherman armor. But Hitler's buzzsaw earned no jokes. The weapon fired 1,200 rounds per minute, and yes, it could actually cut a man in two with a sustained burst. Field reports confirmed it. As Germany secretly rebuilt its military following the Great War, modernizing firepower became critical. The ancient water-cooled Mg08 weighed a back-breaking 88 pounds, completely unsuitable for the revolutionary blitzkrieg doctrine German strategists were developing. The Mg13 came next, dropping weight to 28 pounds, but its meager 25-round magazine ran dry in under 3 seconds. You could barely aim before needing to reload. Then came the Mg34 in the mid-30s, the world's first genuine general-purpose machine gun. Belt-fed with a revolutionary quick-change barrel system, it represented a quantum leap in automatic weapons design. But it carried serious drawbacks: prohibitively expensive to manufacture, hypersensitive to battlefield dirt and freezing conditions, and requiring 150 man-hours to produce each unit. The Wehrmacht needed something better. German engineers received an almost impossible brief: design a more reliable machine gun capable of firing 20 to 25 rounds per second, make it cheaper to produce, and simplify manufacturing. What they created became arguably the finest machine gun ever designed, one that remains in service today with only minor updates. The Mg42 changed everything. Constructed from stamped metal parts rather than precision machined components, it slashed production costs and time by half. Reliability improved dramatically over its predecessor, and its rate of fire more than doubled what Allied machine guns could achieve. By war's end, German factories had churned out over 400,000 units, enough to wreak havoc across every theater of the conflict. Understanding the German squad structure reveals why machine gun crews faced such psychological torment. While Allied infantry used machine guns to support riflemen, the Wehrmacht built entire squads around the machine gun itself. Every tactical decision, every movement, every position revolved around maximizing that weapon's killing power. A standard German squad numbered 10 men with a 3-man machine gun team forming its lethal heart. The gunner operated the Mg34 or 42, carrying a 50-round drum for immediate action and a pistol as backup. His assistant hauled 4 extra drums plus a 300-round ammunition box, armed only with a sidearm. This man fed belts, cleared jams, reloaded, and executed lightning-fast barrel changes during combat. When the primary gunner fell, and many did, the assistant immediately took his place at the gun. The third team member, the ammunition bearer, carried 2 more 300-round boxes and wielded a shortened K98 carbine. Together, these 3 men transported minimum 1,800 rounds of 7.92mm Mauser ammunition. The remaining 7 squad members, led by a sergeant with an MP40 submachine gun and backed by 5 riflemen, functioned as a protective shield around this deadly core. Their entire purpose: keep that machine gun firing at all costs. During assaults, riflemen advanced while the machine gun laid down suppressing fire. In defense, they guarded against flanking attacks that threatened the gun position. This tactical doctrine created a terrible paradox. The machine gun crew wielded the squad's greatest firepower while simultaneously becoming its most vulnerable element. Enemy forces knew that silencing the machine gun meant breaking the squad's backbone. Machine gun crews became priority targets for every enemy weapon system, from individual snipers to direct fire from tanks. Operating the Mg42 demanded exceptional skill and seamless crew coordination. A fresh barrel allowed roughly 20 seconds of sustained fire before heat became critical. After approximately 250 rounds, the barrel required immediate replacement, a procedure skilled crews executed in mere seconds. Allied infantry manuals specifically instructed soldiers to watch for these barrel changes and exploit those brief moments to advance positions. With its bipod deployed, the Mg42 remained relatively portable for prone firing positions, ideal for offensive operations, though recoil hammered the gunner's shoulder mercilessly. Mounted on its tripod, it transformed into a fixed heavy machine gun, a defensive position nightmare. The Lafette tripod featured a brilliant built-in mechanism that automatically traversed the weapon through predetermined arcs during firing. Using this tripod with optical sights, crews could deliver devastating accurate fire at extended ranges, even grazing shots just inches above ground level. Some crews ran string to the trigger mechanism, allowing them to fire remotely from covered positions. What separated machine gunners from regular infantry wasn't just their weapon, but the crushing psychological burden they carried. A rifleman might kill a dozen enemies during an engagement. A machine gunner could kill hundreds in minutes. Consider Heinz Severloh, a German machine gunner positioned at Omaha Beach on D-Day. During that single day, he fired approximately 13,000 rounds, likely killing or wounding hundreds, possibly thousands of American soldiers. How does a human mind process that scale of killing? The honest answer? Often it cannot. German military records document numerous cases of machine gunners suffering complete psychological breakdowns following major battles, particularly on the Eastern Front. Soviet human wave attacks meant firing continuously into masses of charging soldiers until your barrel glowed red or ammunition ran completely dry. The sights these men witnessed defy imagination. Yet combat, however horrific, at least made a certain terrible sense. You're shooting at soldiers trying to kill you. That's war. But machine gun crews sometimes received orders that crossed into something far darker. In occupied territories, German machine guns became instruments of terror and reprisal. Following resistance attacks, they were deployed for mass executions of civilian populations. In occupied Yugoslavia, approximately 2,700 civilians were murdered in Kragujevac as retaliation for partisan operations. German commanders implemented a brutal calculus: 100 civilians executed for each German soldier killed, 50 for each wounded. They tallied their casualties, rounded up townspeople, and ordered machine gun crews to carry out the massacre. Group after group, for 7 continuous hours. One German soldier refused to participate and was immediately executed by his own commanding officer for disobedience. For machine gunners forced to participate in such operations, the psychological damage proved irreparable. Many remained haunted and broken for whatever life remained to them. Back on the battlefield, that distinctive ripping cloth sound that earned the weapon its buzzsaw nickname became a death sentence for crews. While it terrified enemy infantry, it also broadcast the gunner's exact position after just a few rounds. Instantly, every enemy weapon within range oriented on that sound. Crews had to constantly relocate during engagements to survive. But in fixed defensive positions, where retreating without authorization meant execution by your own officers, machine gun crews faced astronomical casualty rates. Capture presented its own nightmare. Allied soldiers who'd just watched their friends cut down by dozens rarely showed mercy to captured machine gun crews. Many German gunners chose to fight until killed rather than surrender. The Mg42 and 42 proved so effective, they influenced virtually every modern machine gun developed since. The weapon remains in service today as the Mg3, with minor modifications chambered for NATO ammunition. American ordnance officers, impressed by its devastating performance, attempted reverse engineering captured examples into the T-24 prototype, but couldn't replicate German engineering precision. They eventually incorporated design elements into the M60 machine gun that became iconic during Vietnam. German machine gunners existed in a terrible paradox, wielding immense destructive power that simultaneously marked them for death, inflicting terror while living in constant fear themselves. They represented their squad's most valuable asset and the battlefield's most hunted men. Next time you hear that distinctive Mg42 sound in a World War II film, remember the young man behind that weapon lived with constant fear and crushing guilt. His life expectancy measured not in days or hours, but in minutes.